So just to provide you a brief about ASSOCHAM. ASSOCHAM is basically an industry body which has been, which came into establishment in 1920, so we have almost completed more than 100 years, and it's our oldest apex industry body. We have been working in the domains of climate adaptation, water security, green financing, where the industries issues have been taken up with the government bodies also. So it's basically ASSOCHAM also acts as a mediator between the industry and a government body, and it's both cycle. If the government have some requirements for the industries, we came into the picture. If industry have certain requirements for the government, we came into the pictures. Along with this, our key focus area for the ASSOCHAM has been these kind. We can directly go through it, and these are the services which we provide. Our current leadership is we are being headed by the Sanjay Nair, our president. In the ASSOCHAM, we also have some of the key members are here, and this side event is being led by the ASSOCHAM Water Council. So it is basically the Water Council. Water Council is dedicated to addressing the urgent and pressing need for the provision of clean and safe and sustainable water solutions in India, and we are also having our global impressions also being made. So basically we focus on promoting water use efficiency, technological innovations, and impactful policy decisions. These are some of the thematic areas where we are working with different states across the India, and we have been also the Youth for Meghna Forum, where we're presenting here with IUCN, is also one of our thematic area where we're working. So these are the tasks which we have completed over a span of 1 year, and if you have some queries, you can directly reach out to me if you want to collaborate with ASSOCHAM also. There is an upcoming event for our National Water Summit, which is going to a global campaign also. So if you are interested, please do reach out to us. Moving on to the context setting, as we all, sorry, I'm so sorry, the presentation is buffering out. Why? Can we have, I think this. Okay, so just to start up, we are all here because we want to discuss about the role of private sector. Can we move into this river context? It's not working from here. Slide number this. I'll be directly coming to the context setting. I'm sorry, so much animation. So this session is basically the river basin and climate resilience, where the role of private sectors come into the picture. As you know, whenever there is a river basin management, all the stakeholders, one of the stakeholder is also industries. We have been talking about whenever the basin management works, some of the most common prominent stakeholders come out as a government and communities, where the private sectors have been subsided, but they do have an impactful role to make, and they have been always portrayed as somehow a negative impression whenever the private sectors come into the picture. As you know, most of the river basins, around 2.8 billion people are residing in these river basin areas, and around 20% of the global agriculture is being impacted directly, is dependent on the river basin systems, and 40% of biodiversity. As for the private sectors, the climate change has not only impacted communities or the government, it's have been also impacting the private sectors also. So as they also suffer from the business losses, as per the report by OECD, around $301 billion loss is happening every per year annually to the business for the big firms. So So directly the river health also impact the private sector. So in this segment, we try to focus to bridge a bridge to address the gap between the community, government and private sector, and how the private sector can come into the picture and support this overall impact. I know the main impression we always have is whenever the private sector is engaging, it's the monetary terms we look into, but we are not here only looking at the monetary term. We are also looking at the expertise domain which they can provide to us in the addressing these issues. So basically, and the policy engagement level, because the window which private sector have, I think the community sometimes lack those windows or those ways. So this is one. And moving on to our key theme discussion areas are will be these: the risk and responsibilities, resilience and solutions, collaborative stewardship and financing resilience, and policy governance. Now I will move on to introduce our speakers and chairman. I'll request Ms. Bipasha Hossain. She is a country representative of IUCN Bangladesh with over 15 years of leadership experience across development, private and social enterprise sector. Her expertise spans in strategic partnership and inclusive growth and institutional development. I'll request Bipasha to join us on our dais. And now moving on to our other speakers. Ms. Shamia Akhtar, Director of Corporate Affairs, Partnership and Communication at Unilever Bangladesh. She has been, she had a distinguished background at Coca-Cola, Grameenphone, and UNDP and USAID. She now leads Unilever sustainability efforts. She will be joining us online. And we have Ms. Parini Adulapai Chit. She is a head of public affairs and sustainability Asian Bears, Thailand. We are pleased to welcome you. She heads the public affairs and sustainability, and she drives regional strategies in food system resilience and health equity climate adaptations. Next speaker is our Mr. Swapnil Patodar. He's a founder and director of ERA Sustainable Water Solutions. He's bringing 13 years of experience, and he has been working in the industrial water stewardship and nature-based solutions. Now moving on to our next panelist, Mr. Madhukar Swambhu. He's already a recognized TED speaker and an NBS expert, so I don't think he need an introduction, but still he's given us a privilege to join us in here. Moving on to another panelist, Ms. Sayyada Afzullah Nisan. She is sustainability head of the Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank Corporation Limited. She will be joining us online, and she is from the Bangladesh side. Ms. Soumya Tabassum Ahmed. She's a head sustainability in the Piran RFL, and she will be joining us online. Before I hand over the chip to Bipasha, I'll have a small request. I'll request all the panelists to stick to their time zone, and we have only limited time for each panelist, 6 to 7 minutes, in order to adhere the time. Please, thank you.
It's working. Yeah, thank you. So thank you, Ashu, and welcome to our panelists. May I request our online panelists to be shown on screen? Is that possible? Sorry? So, may I request our panelists to please switch on your videos, please, so that we can also see you. Okay. Moving on, I'm just going to start. So. Thank you. I'll just introduce myself again. I'm Bipasha Hossain. I'm the country representative of IUCN Bangladesh, and I'm delighted to have such an august panel here, both in person and physical online. And as we start, I would like to express my sincere thanks to ASSOCHAM for taking the lead for arranging this session and bringing us such a diverse group of speakers, especially from India. And I want also to take a moment to thank AIT, IUCN, and South Asian University for anchoring this platform for shared learning. Our partners, I think we've seen throughout the day, you can see their logos there. I'm not mentioning them for time. But we want to express our deep appreciation to our partners for their commitment and collaboration for shaping this Meghna Knowledge Forum. we also acknowledge the generous support of the governments of Sweden and Switzerland through the Bridge and TROSA initiatives for making this engagement possible. Thank all of you for believing in the value of dialogue, co-creation, and resilience. Okay, today, we are here today for these 3 days, convening for 3 days, and it is the Barak Meghna River Basin that has actually brought us here. Spanning lush Har wetlands, braided river channels, and densely inhabited deltaic plains across India and Bangladesh. This basin is a lifeline for millions and a sanctuary for biodiversity. And throughout yesterday and today's morning sessions, we have seen how the climate crisis has not spared this beautiful sanctuary. We've seen the data that Dr. Niladri has presented in the morning, how in his climate analysis, how climate is affecting this beautiful basin, how communities are grappling with increasing erratic rainfalls, how salinity, intrusion, and flash floods are threatening crops, fisheries, and daily livelihoods. And while they remain on the front lines of impact, the private sector is increasingly in the front lines of response. So in today's session, we want to tell a story where 6 speakers from 6 sectors of the private ecosystem of India and Bangladesh will show us how business is not just adapting to climate risks, but helping shape resilient futures. We will hear stories of transformation from finance and farming to water reuse and manufacturing. Let us discover how these actors are aligning markets with ecosystems and profits with people. So let me begin. I will begin the first story, or the first chapter of my story, with the enabler of all transformation, finance. So Avzapa, are you here with us? I still can't see. Oh, Avzapa, you're here?
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me well?
We can hear you, but I cannot see Avzapa. Can we have, you can see her? Oh, great, yes, hi Avzapa. So we're honored to have you here with us. Ms. Saida Afzalun Nessa from HSBC Bangladesh, Avzapa, that's how I call her. My question to you is, how is HSBC and the financial ecosystem aligning its green finance strategy with climate vulnerable communities? How are blended finance, or ESG as we know, environment, social, and governance lending tools helping SMEs, particularly women entrepreneurs, and local nature-based solution projects take root? Over to you, Avzapa.
Thank you. Thanks for the question. And just to give you an outline of Bangladesh and how it operates. So as you can understand, it's climate vulnerable, and the main source of these vulnerable people or the income is from agriculture. And how, if I can relate the two, is agriculture is also a very sensitive thing, and it's because of climate change. So going back to financing and how it is run in Bangladesh. So Bangladesh Bank is our regulator, and through our regulation, there is a lot of focus to support agriculture. There's focus to support SME-led business. There's focus to support women. So how this, our regulator itself is pushing the banks and the financial institution to support this ecosystem. And if I just also say, like, on the financing decisions as well. So Bangladesh also has a sustainable finance policy, where there's an exclusion list of the industries or the companies or organizations, I would say, on the industry perspective, that we or the financial institutions cannot support. So this is one. Another is while taking a decision on loans, on providing commercial loans as well, there's a environment and social due diligence checklist from the central bank itself. So in that checklist, there is environment and social aspects in that. So I would say in a country perspective, in scope of loan, providing loan from a bank, there is an entire guideline so that there is, I would say, a work scope on how we can protect and best utilize the funds itself. And on how we do it, so microfinance is very popular in Bangladesh, and it's one of the tools that are working well in the countryside or in, I would say, supporting the ecosystem. So yesterday I was in Rajshahi. We had a financial literacy session, and it has a different climate agenda as well on water scarcity. So, so as per the findings of the discussion itself, microfinance was the most popular thing. And there can be work scope on how in future blended finance with microfinance can work in. So there can be a lot of opportunities going forward. And this will require support from the industry itself in case of supporting to decrease the rate of the interest for the microfinance organizations. I hope I gave you a summary of the perspective from on ground. Over to you.
Thank you, Appa. Do you want to add a little bit about how you're supporting women entrepreneurs, SMEs, especially in nature-based? Just a little bit briefly, if possible.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Firstly, from a financing angle, it's we do it via microfinance. And another angle is, of course, agri is an important sector which is also supported via microfinance as well. And additionally, if we say we have philanthropic projects, and these are big projects that we are doing in climate hotspots of the country, and we are driving women entrepreneurship through that. I have seen by myself yesterday on how we are providing biocompost, creating women entrepreneurship, to, I would say, providing soybean-specific products like tofu for the country users as well. So these are the few things that we are doing from our philanthropic support as well. We also support mangrove projects. So, and as part of the sourcing of the mangrove, we are engaging women to drive in for the mangrove saplings as well. So I would like to conclude it here. Thank you.
Thank you, Afzapa. So from policies to actually on the ground helping entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs. Thank you for sharing your experience from the financial ecosystem of Bangladesh. Maybe in the question and answer session, we can deep dive further into how that we can take that further. I'm moving on because I want to speak less and let our esteemed speakers speak more. So my next chapter is going to shift to ecosystems and wisdom. So I am going to go to Mr. Madhukar Swayambhu. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Yeah. He's known for his unique blend of Vedic ecology and modern hydrology. So Madhukar ji, what can the private sector learn from traditional water systems like step wells and community tanks? And how can these systems be scaled in today's climate insecure landscapes? If you would share your insights, please.
See, when it comes to private sector or government sector or any sector, learning from the traditional knowledge, what we need to learn from them is the society has been resilient to any kind of natural calamity. That is why we are still surviving, right? We've been surviving all the floods, all the droughts and everything. Why? Because we lived in a particular fashion. That style of living was 100% sustainable. but we have completely in last about 100 odd years. That is why we are facing new challenges, new problems, climate risk and all that, right? So what we need to learn from our traditional systems and knowledge, like if you talk about the Indian Peninsula, today you have archaeological evidence, you have documentary evidence, you have historical evidence that there is a continuous living for at least years. So how was that living possible? In spite of whatever problems we had, in spite of whatever natural calamities we had. So we had designed the infrastructure. The problem is we take water as H2O, right? Whereas water is a phenomenon way beyond the laws of physics. If we start understanding it, then we will design our development strategies which are 100% in line with the natural process.
Just raise the mic to your mouth, please. Thank you.
Is it okay?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, like, if you look at any of the modern construction, they survive for maximum 100 years. If you look at the youngest of the forts built in Bharat, you'll find the minimum year is 500 years. So how did this survive? And why is our modern construction not surviving? It's only because we understand the weather cycles. After winters, there's going to be summers. Winters, everything had contracted. Summers, everything will expand. Then we will have rains, which will seep in, right? Water will seep in. And again, when the winters come, everything will contract and water will expand. That will create a crack. After 100 years, which means 100 rains, this entire edifice will collapse. So why they were not collapsing? It's only because we built two walls and we filled it up with certain ingredients. What were the ingredients? Crushed pulses, calcium carbonate, which is CaCO3, khane wala chuna, and dried curd. Now what do we have in dried curd? We have lactobacillus. Bacillus is a bacteria which will rebuild and re-strengthen the crack by filling it up with calcium carbonate. So every stone wall is getting re-strengthened. That is how you design your development strategies in absolute harmony with nature, and it will become sustainable. It's very simple. We need to understand the nature around us and build our development strategies in accordance with what is the most sustainable phenomena on the planet, which is nature only. It is surviving for 4.3 billion years, right?
Absolutely.
So we just need to set our agendas right, and everything will fall in place. This is what, whether private sector or government sector or communities or anyone has to learn from nature, which our ancestors had already learned. That is why they survived. So that is the traditional knowledge. Traditional knowledge is not following traditions and rituals. Traditional knowledge was all backed by science. We need to understand the science. We follow the rituals and forget the reasonings. That is required to be corrected.
Beautiful. I think a buzzword in today's, when we ever talk about climate, is nature-based solutions. And thank you for setting the context and actually the foundation for what nature-based solution should be like, taking nature at the center of it and the root of it, and learning from nature and how our ancestors have survived for thousands of years, actually. I'm proud to be part of this region. So no, thank you so much for sharing those insights. I will now move on to industrial use of water. And Mr. Swapnil Poddar from Era Water has been innovating on decentralized circular water systems. So Swapnil ji, how can industries become water stewards and not just users? What are the most practical reuse or recharge models you've seen that also benefit nearby communities?
Okay. Sure. Thanks for involving me in this panel. Rather than speaking, I have short visuals of how these solutions. Industry is often seen as the prime culprit of damaging the ecosystem, but I must say the industry has warmed up very fast and very well, and sustainability is front and center of industries. In fact, board meetings have sustainability heads involved now.
Right.
That is the impact of sustainability in a short duration.
We have a few of us joining sustainability heads online, yes.
Right. So it is very important, and they are going right from the source to the end user, and even after the discharge, what is taken care of. So I'll just show quick visuals of how that has happened.
Sure.
Yeah, this is a place that I come from. The river on the right had gone dry, and you could literally walk the river bank without even having to use a boat. So as I said, since industry has warmed up, there are different mechanisms put in place, like policies, new compliances, where a revenue of any industry is linked to water consumption. And they have to bring down water consumption as the revenue increases. There are different compliances. There is also a mandate of corporate social responsibility that an industry is liable to enhance the use of natural resources within the local geography that they are in. So this is a river which was like this 4 years ago. It's always pleasant to have a situation like this, from scarcity to abundance. So I'll show you a case study of an industry where it did not have enough water to even complete its construction, and how that industry within 6 years transformed a place like this, which was a scrapyard, into what you will see now. Can someone please play the link on the video? It's playing. So this area was in a drought zone where the annual rainfall is very less, and one gentleman pointed out that it's not only a case of flash floods, but there are also flash droughts, where there is sudden dip in water that the local geography is not able to sustain. And this was once a farmland, which is now converted into an industry. We implemented a different sort of project where we recharge groundwater. We augmented the groundwater table by up to 80%. And over the span of 7 years, the moisture levels in that very same terrain enhanced. You could literally touch the groundwater during monsoons or even post-monsoons. And the company went a step ahead and they planted a micro-forest in that area. So earlier, which was a scrapyard like this, is now a lush green micro-forest within a small industry. They not only scored high on the sustainability index, but they also augmented water levels within their local community. So this is a very good transformation. These transformations are very difficult to bring about in a community setup where bringing everyone together is difficult. But here, industries, they have dedicated water leaders or dedicated water managers who take ownership of such projects. This is another project where downstream flooding was an issue. It was on a hilltop where during monsoons the company would not have enough water, and whenever it rained, because of the steep gradient, the water would flood downstream village. So after multiple different surveys, aerial, topographical, hydrogeological, we identified that we could make a water body which will not only serve as a source of fresh water, but it can also act as a buffer or balancing reservoir during extreme rainfalls. Usually, water bodies like these are formed by meteoric showers or tectonic plate movements. So we tried to replicate that, NBS, where it comes from. So we retained the natural strata as is. We designed the capacity in a way that it can cater to a large quantum of runoff. And since the water was carrying a lot of contaminants, we proactively installed a automated aeration system. So once the oxygen content of water is high, I believe that water has a tendency to heal itself. And once the system was in action, you can notice the water was turbid. It had a typical odor. But over a span of a year and a half or two, the water quality started to enhance. And birds started to come in. So once there is water, ecology starts to repair itself. And now it holds 55,000 cubic meters of water. And this is within an industry premise. And the industry went a step further. Since stagnant water bodies are susceptible to algae growth, the quality of water tends to go bad if it is not attended. they had it's like an asset to them. They had a self-supporting roof installed over it so that air can pass through it, but there is no algae formation within that water body. And this is in the peak month of summer where it holds water in itself. You can even see the bottom of that water body. And last one, like Mr. Madhuji, he said that our forts, they have sustained a lifespan of 500 years, 1,000 years. Likewise, India has a heritage of stepwells, which are as old as 1,000 years, 2,000 years. There are some stepwells, they look like they were built yesterday. But this is one such case where it was a small pond which was serving water to a local community, and it was about 50 years old. They manually built a well around it so that they could use that water around the year. But because of demanding infrastructure, it was in such a condition. You'll see a transformation of that. Again, an industry owned up this project where they wanted to bring it back to life. And more often than not, it is dumped with plastic, it is dumped with sewage, contaminants. You would not even want to touch that water. So it was a very sensitive project. At the same time, it was critical because we had to take care of the structural integrity also. It took us months. We had to dredge out all the debris, unwanted material from it, bucket by bucket. And to our surprise, all the pores or all the groundwater streams that were feeding water to the source, they had gotten clogged up, choked up, and it had pretty much gone dead. It took trucks to take out the debris out of here. And slowly, slowly, the groundwater streams, they started to revive. And in fact, this is in the middle of a creek and a hill range where there were natural streams flowing from the hill range to the creek. Flamingos, migratory birds come to that creek. So this is a part of the larger ecosystem. So this is like treating water as a patient, and you need to take care of water. You need to treat the water like a doctor. You can visually see the groundwater streams coming back to life. This is a very rare visual that you can see. And gradually, over 6 months, the water source, which was earlier like this, now holds clear blue water. You'd be amazed to see the quality, difference in the water quality. Earlier it was this, and now it is as clear as this. Well, this is on a micro scale where an industry took it up within a small geography, but this can be scaled up to a level where this can go on a large scale. We can take up different water sources. It could be a groundwater source or a river, or a flowing rivulet, maybe. Even those can be done up. And all these success stories or all these projects that we are trying to collate, they are acting as a motivation to others because very few are aware. Everyone knows that we need to do something, but very few are aware what is to be done. So such documentation or such case studies are motivating these industries to take up more and more of such projects. Industries are even going beyond their own premise and taking up such projects within the watersheds. So once industries collaborate like a cluster and they go out of their premise to do such projects, then it will have a true effect in that entire geography, is what we have learned from our experience. So that's about it. I was well under 7 minutes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Swapnilji. So when the private sector takes responsibility and uses the science that nature teaches us, we can see what wonders can happen. I'm sure the audience will have a lot of interesting questions, follow-up questions to that. I'm moving on to the next speaker. We will come back to you if we have more time. So our next chapter is on circularity and plastics. Shamimappa, are you there? I don't know if Shamimappa could join. Shamimappa, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
Sorry, my camera is acting a bit. Apologies for that.
No worries, Shamimappa. So Shamimappa is from Unilever, Bangladesh, and has led pioneering work on plastic waste management and circular packaging. So my question to you, Shamimappa, how is Unilever embedding circular economy principles in packaging, and how are partnerships and municipalities, part of the local government, and informal workers making this model truly inclusive? Over to you, Appa.
Right. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. And it's an honor to be part of this panel. Again, I'm trying to use my camera, which is not really working. However, let me introduce myself one more time. You may understand that Appa is my last name, which is not. My name is Shamima Akhtar. I am working as a Director for Corporate Affairs, Sustainability, and Corporate Communications. Unilever is one of the large, CPG company, consumer packaged goods company, and we reach out 3.4 billion people every day all around the world. So that says that the impact we do have and the reach we have all around the world is huge. And we understand that our responsibility is equally large, especially driving efficient and effective business model to ensure that environment and climate is at the center of the way we do business. Now, why circular economy is becoming critical globally? Because of the overconsumption, and we know that due to the excessive consumption, SDG also included responsible consumption, production, and consumption as one of the key goals. Unilever use packaging material, and that's how we reach out to every household. While we understand that packaging material is the way to deliver the safe product, but we also know that this packaging, after it gets used, the product gets consumed, but the packaging gets into landfill or reach to the waste stream. Globally, different countries are in a different level in managing solid waste, but everyone understood that this solid waste management can be enhanced when producers take their responsibility, and that is the reason extended producer responsibility came into the scene 20 years back, and many countries are adopting EPR as an effective tool to manage, solid waste, especially packaging waste. Unilever globally has got a couple of commitments, and sustainability has been one of the ways that we do business. We do have 4 pillars: climate, nature, plastics, and livelihood. So under plastics, we do have a commitment of collecting and processing more plastics than we use. In Bangladesh, giving the context that in Bangladesh, solid waste management rule has come in place in 2021. However, extended producers' responsibility has been, highlighted as a tool to ensure waste circularity, still yet to come on place. Unilever, as globally it has committed, this is the same way it started working in Bangladesh, despite there is any EPR, the absence of EPR. Now, let me share how we have worked. In 2020, we started the work to understand the space, because solid waste management is actually done by the government, and we all know that globally this is the practice. However, we also understand that there is a strong value chain, especially the waste that has got value. And that is the reason scrap business is a big business for many parts of the world. Especially in Bangladesh, to give you another context, that around 40% plastic waste gets recycled or come into the recycling value chain through informal sector. So that says that we do have some sort of mechanism of bringing these packages which after become a waste to come into the circularity. So how Unilever works, unlike many other organizations, this is not our CSR initiative. This is part of the business sustainability. So we started experimenting with a couple of organizations. We started with UNDP. However, we realized that due to our lack of understanding of the value chain, because of course Unilever is not a recycling industry company, nor we understand the value chain in that manner. Or even our implementing partner also had difficulty in understanding how this worked, because this is a business-led initiative. But what we could understand that without the municipality engagement, without this informal sector engagement, this will not come in place. After our first initiative learning, we started our initiative in Chattogram City Corporation. Chattogram is the second largest port city in Bangladesh, and this is also the port city. The reason we have chosen Chattogram, of course, this is where our largest factory resides. Also, the other reason is this is a port city, so the mismanaged plastic waste becomes a ocean, plastic very fast. So that's the reason we prioritized it. So what worked? Of course, it worked the collective willingness, solve a problem. So what do I mean by collective willingness? Our partner organization, who is an NGO, has worked with City Corporation in the past directly. So they lent their expertise of understanding the entire value chain and execution model. So why do we say execution model? Because this is literally finding a way to bring the plastic back. And especially our focus has been single-use plastic or smaller packs which are difficult to collect. And what City Corporation has lent us their, infrastructure or their workers, if I say so. What Unilever has done, other than funding this initiative, right? Funding is, of course, a very important part. But what Unilever has done is created a business model or enhanced a business model, because I have said that informal sector was already doing some bit of it. But what we did, we said that how can we bring efficiency to this model? What kind of input resources will help this model to be even sustainable? Because we are always good at building a good business model. So that's where our expertise comes from. So all these three partners' expertise came together and we started working. I will not go in detail of the project, how do we do it? I'll just focus on the livelihood part or informal waste workers inclusion part, because we all get worried that in the globally, 60% of the waste is actually handled by informal sector. And we know that this is where there is no human rights, there is no safety, security, no social inclusion, or like very less social inclusion, especially countries like Bangladesh. 95% of the waste is managed by the informal sector. That's where we had to focus a lot more, because saying that these are the people needs to be visible. How do we make these people visible? We ensured that the 3,000 waste workers we are going to work through the middleman, they should be visible in the system. We need to know who they are, where do they work, how much they earn, and what kind of incentive is going to go to them if they collect the certain sort of plastic. So ensuring that the inclusion, they are visible in the system, which they were not in the past, greatly worked. Of course, it was a cumbersome work. It took us almost a year to identify, really ensure that there is no child labor. They do have all the required data. And there was a lack of willingness of giving the data, because they always feel like these data may give them do more harm than do the benefit. So that took us a year to convince them to work with us, give us the data so that we can support them. So that really worked well. The second thing that worked really well is giving the finance or the incentive that we provide directly to them, meaning there has to be a traceability that they are getting this income, right? And that gave them a confidence that no, if they give us the plastic, they are going to get their due money as well as other support. The third thing that really worked is their PPE, because whenever I come to an office, I ensure that my office ensure that I have a safe work environment. Now in informal sector, this is very difficult to do it, right? And the habit of, using the PPE or like personal protective equipment is really low. So it is very easy to give away this sort of material, but ensuring that they use it and they understand that this helps them also took quite a while. Finally, the inclusion that really I think we are very proud of as an Unilever, giving them a formal insurance, life insurance. This is the first time any private sector has given life insurance. We had to work with another multinational life insurance company to work on the policies, and we now have given them a life insurance. So now around 2,000 waste worker gets the life insurance through our initiative. So all these things put together, we have ensured that this informal waste worker, the middle of the initiative, and while we are collecting the plastic, we are taking care of them. Finally, also they understand that the initiative has given them the dignity, which is very important. You know, money is important, health is important, safety is important, but the dignity is where we always lack. And I think we also learn from the development sector or NGOs that the dignity can give people boost and, they can take their life to the next level. So giving them the visibility, giving them the award and recognition every quarter through the mayor, through the city corporation CEO, they now feel like they are seen as a contributor to the environment than a mere waste worker. So I would say the pride that Unilever or like this collaboration takes, that we made them feel like their work is valued and they are part of the environmental protection mechanism, not only a mere waste worker. So that's from my side. Happy to take any questions or follow up, questions if panel or anyone else has. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shamimapa. Thank you. So we heard from Shamimapa how complex dealing with trying to deal with climate change, or the effect that human nature has been the result of what humans have been doing in the last 100 years, like Madhukarji was saying, how to actually counter that and address that and go back to nature, how complex that can be, and trying to create business models out of these cleaning up process, let's say, which Appa was mentioning, saying waste circularity, making them sustainable. Perhaps the question could be how to make them, how to include nature more in this. I think we have seen more anthropologic solutions there, but how to incorporate nature, maybe the private sector can consider that, and some of which Shapnilji was trying to share with us. So thank you so much. I think the audience should have a lot of interesting questions to ask our panelists here. I will now move on to the fields. And we have with us from Bayer, from the ASEAN region, Ms. Parani Adul Yapichet. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly.
Perfect.
She's here to share innovations in climate-smart agriculture. So, Ms. Parani, how is Bayer promoting regenerative agriculture across South Asia, Southeast Asia? And how are you ensuring that smallholder farmers, especially women if possible, benefit from these innovations? I know you have maybe a presentation slide maybe you can share with us. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Bipasha. And thanks a lot for IUCN and also ASOCHAM for providing opportunity for Bayer to share with you in today's session. And good afternoon, everyone. So first, on the regenerative agriculture, we have quite high commitment towards this direction because there's a need to produce more with less resource and also to restore nature in addition as well. So let me share with you what we are doing on the story of Bayer contribution. I will start here. I will not spend time more because ASOCHAM already mentioned to you how is the impact on the climate change. So you can see on this site that definitely it's quite high impact agricultural yield. That's what we have seen, and you see the red color in India and Bangladesh, so red and pale red, so it's quite something. But on another side, you can see on the demand side, because on the demand side that there's a supply, so there's an impact of supply from the climate risk. However, on the demand side, we have increasing the global population. And what this means for that, we have seen at the moment that if we take a look for 2050, from the current stage of the food production in the world, there's a still gap around 56%. So it means that we are at risk in the food security and adequately supply for the food for our world. So how the agribusiness can contribute to that? So definitely we have innovation technology, we have knowledge and capacity building and know-how, and we also can connect with the value chain to collaborate and integrate the value chain to benefit agricultural sector. So how we can do for that? Starting with the bio is the example. Bio is in the healthcare and agricultural specialist area. So we have the vision, health for all, hunger for none, and we highly commit in the bringing innovation, innovative solution and technology to agricultural sector. You can see from the numbers over here that okay, it's not working. So sorry. So you can see from the oops.
Yeah, this side.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, you can see from the numbers that our research and development investment is around more than 10% of our turnover. So we highly commit to bring the innovative solution because we see that it's strongly required, and that's the commitment, as I said, towards the regenerative agriculture. So the solution that we are bringing, including the crop protection to farmers, seed and trade area, and also digital solution. And on top of that, we have high sustainability commitment to reduce the impact on the greenhouse gas emission in the field, reduce the impact on the crop protection, impact to environment, and also to enhance the efficiency in the water use in the field, including supporting the smallholder farmers as well. This is an example that I would like to share on the showcase that we have the project in India. So we have the project called Direct Acre in rice. Why rice? Because rice we have seen is important because rice right now incorporate the use of the water around 30% of the global water irrigation system. So yeah, it's quite huge in terms of the usage. And on top of that, rice also contribute a lot to the risk on the climate as well because it produce a lot of greenhouse gas emission. So we target in rice, we try to bring integrated solution to farmers in India by having the hybrid rice seed, which can being fitted in the practice on the direct seeded rice that can transform from the normal transplanted paddle rice cultivation, which normally farmers need to put in the seed and are also nursing it and then transfer that to the field. And that's require a lot of the water use in the field. So we changed the practice to dry direct seeded rice with the hybrid rice seed. On top of that, with the integrated solution with the value chain partner together, mechanization, the crop protection, innovation, and on that, here is the result that we can illustrate from our project. So this is what we achieved for the water conservation for 40%. Comparing to the normal practice, and we can also reduce the greenhouse gas emission for 45% as well. And on that, yeah, definitely it's outcome in terms of the climate impact that we can generate from our project, but to make it sustainable, so it should be like an impact to farmers in addition as well. So for farmers, yeah, based on this new practice, it can reduce the labor use around 50%, which means reduction of the labor cost And on top of that, increasing productivity, which means more income for farmers. And then it can motivating farmers to continue the practice, even though we are not continue our project to support in the field. So yeah, they can continue the best practice in the field and also disseminate that to the community as well. And on top of that, the farmers can explore additional income through the rice carbon credit in addition as well. So on that, that's an example in rice. We also see the direct development in biotech area that can contribute to the climate resilience as well. And on that, definitely on the insect control and the weed control. But the recent one that I would like to share is on the corn. We are now in the developing phase for innovation in corn. And on that, we are developing the short stature corn. Because in the traditional conventional corn, the height of the corn should be around 10 to 12 feet. And we can reduce to around 5 to 7 feet height corn for our short stature corn as the innovation. What does it mean? First, in terms of the climate risk, so the short stature corn can be tolerate to the strong wind. So on that, it's fit to the strong climate condition. And on top of that, it use less water. So that's can contributing to more climate resilience, but ensuring that the farmers can have the high productivity and yield. This is my last slide. In order to bring the integrated solution to farmers, so definitely we see that there are some key elements to think about. So first one, empowering farmer with innovation technology at the speed and scale. And on that is also incorporated to your question as well on the women farmer, because under our program, definitely the female farmers has been taken into consideration. And we need to ensure that in all the capacity building program that Bayer implement in either East Asia or Southeast Asia, so the women farmers, female farmers should be incorporated. And that's one of our KPI. And on top of that, we are trying, since we are a healthcare company, so we are trying to bring the health perspective in terms of the family planning, in addition to support the farmers, female farmers in addition as well. Yeah. And second part, definitely innovation. So research and development is the key. So accelerating that solution, it can be like through incentivize the system by the government incentive or co-investment by public and private sector, or the private, the big enterprise and the small enterprise together. And the last, multi-stakeholders collaboration, because what we have seen and experienced is that we get to the farmers, and the question from the farmers all the time is that many companies came to us, and you came with solution, another company came with another solution. We know that all are good, but which one is better, and how can you combine everything together? So normally, once a buyer getting to the field for any project, we starting to think about what can be the partner for success to bring the solution to farmer. And for example, like the case in Vietnam, so we partner with the fertilization company, the mechanization company, the value chain for off-taker, because on that it's highly important to link the market to ensure that everything that the farmers produce can be get to the market properly. Last but very important, having the enabling of the policy and the regulation and ecosystem supporting by the government, because without this, everything cannot be realized. So that's the things that I want to share. Happy to take more questions and discussion as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Parani. So from how research and development can be important, especially in South Asia, we know, in Bangladesh particularly, we have very little research and innovation. We can see what a big contribution research and innovation can have in helping something as basic and such essential as agriculture, how that can play an impact in reducing things like water use, reducing from the height of the corns, making them more resilient. So I'll just leave you with that. We'll come back, we'll circle back later. I have my last speaker with me who represents large-scale industry. So if you were listening to Ashu's introduction, RFL is one of the biggest conglomerates in Bangladesh that exports globally to a lot of countries. So it has become a multinational also. So my question to Sumaya, Ms. Sumaya Tabassum, who leads the PRAN RFL sustainability efforts across logistics, energy, and biodiversity. Maybe I'm missing out a few also. But Sumaya, my question to you, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can hear you.
Yes, great. So Sumaya, can you let us know what does sustainability look like in such a vast industrial ecosystem? And how are you embedding low carbon models across your value chain, from rural sourcing to retail? Over to you, Sumaya.
Great. Thank you so much for the kind introduction and for having me in this esteemed panel. Bipasha Appa has been very kind in giving a bit of background on what PRAN RFL Group does, but just to set a little bit more context for especially a Bangladesh or Bangladeshi created conglomerate. So we've been in business since 1981. And over the last 44 years, we've expanded to diverse industries and segments of consumer products, durable goods, and non-durable goods. And so PRAN and RFL, these are two separate organizations that have come together to be created into a group called PRAN RFL Group. PRAN works with the especially agricultural sector in Bangladesh, and we're very strong on that front. So within PRAN, we have over 100,000 contract farmers who are working in our system to provide raw materials, agricultural products for a vast range of consumer goods. And RFL is the durable goods company that we have, Rangpur Foundry Limited, where we're creating products catering from the deep rural market all the way to the international market. So far, over the last couple of years, our business growth has been exponential. Last year, we've done a revenue north of $3 billion, and we export to over 145 different countries. And our organizational target is to export to all the countries in the world. So just to kind of highlight the big partners that we have, H&M Group, Lidl, Walmart, Target, Dollar Tree, all of these are our global consumer bases. And then we expand to a lot of small and medium companies as well. And so just to come back to the question of, what does sustainability look like in such a vast industrial ecosystem, especially with having a conglomerate that has over 30 factories just in Bangladesh and 7 internationally as well. And so when we talk about sustainability in PRAN RFL, it's just not kind of thought as something that is an afterthought, something that you do beyond the business, but that's embedded within the business, because sustainability makes business sense for us, especially for an organization that's been running for more than 40 years, and we want to sustain, for many, many more decades to come. You need to have sustainability as the core pillar of how you do business. And in the long term, it will pay back to you. And so, what does sustainability specifically mean in different avenues of our work? So number one is talking about, really how do you utilize resource very efficiently and, have circular practices within your production system. And so what does that mean on a day-to-day operational basis? It means minimizing our footprints by, optimizing the use of the raw materials that we do have, such as water, energy, and other raw materials, and also really actively pursuing circular economic principles, especially when we come to waste reduction and how do you maximize resource efficiency, especially when it comes to, say, for example, packaging. When we create, because we are one of the largest consumer focused goods company, how do you really minimize packaging? How do you bring innovation in the packaging that we do? and how do you, utilize and reuse the raw materials so that, you have to bring in less virgin material to your industrial practices. And number two, and something that is also that the organization and the group is pursuing in a very proactive way, is focusing on climate action and decarbonization. And so, especially because we have such large global clientele such as H&M Group, who are very strict on their sustainability business targets and metrics, we have really shifted the way that we do work and how we measure success and operational metrics in alignment to these global partners and global groups, especially because we also export largely to the European market as well, where the sustainability policies, the reporting policies are going to be very stringent and after a certain extent mandatory. How do we proactively prepare ourselves in that avenue is something that we're working across. So in terms of climate action and decarbonization, we are proactively investing in heavy machineries and technologies that will have a large capex in the short term, but really provide business efficiency and production efficiency in the long run. So investing in capex through machineries and across the value chain, investing in renewable energy, especially all of our factories have solar energy, and we've now created a separate renewable energy business through which we're working on a mass scale with the government and the local business sectors as well. Number three is how do we engage community and social impact? And that's very important because we have 30 factories all over the country. And what we want to do, and as business strategy, we want to decentralize what business and capitalism looks like in Bangladesh. Because most often you'll see that people have huddled and come within the center of the city and in the capital, and that does not benefit anyone. And so what we've done is we've had all of our factories all over the country, and then we've created community projects as well as water stewardship projects that really look after the community where our factories are. We've also been investing heavily on education and healthcare. We currently run 3 schools, which are public schools, all around our factories, and the factory workers' children study there for free, but the local community also pays for that. So there's a business model conducive of the schools, but then we also provide benefits and then scholarships as well. In terms of healthcare, we've just created 3 hospitals all around our factory, and then we've also have a nursing school and a nursing college where we are investing in developing the ecosystem of the healthcare in and around regions around our factories. And last but not the least, I think the most important is how you measure, monitor, and then really openly report your sustainability metrics. And so we've now heavily invested in software and infrastructure, which gives us live and live tracking of all the operational metrics at a click of a button. We share this with our global partners as well, and really holding training sessions, knowledge building sessions throughout our compliance team as well, and having ourselves we hold ourselves accountable to all our stakeholders as well, so that we measure, monitor our progress, and really share the ideas. I think your second question is about how we were embedding low carbon technologies.
Yeah.
Or low carbon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just to expand on my previous points, low carbon, embedding low carbon technologies has been, one of the fundamental pillars of how we're really expanding our business, especially when we talk about rural sourcing and agriculture, because that's, the backbone of PRAN, when you're working with over 100,000 contract farmers in agriculture, in dairy, and all of these sectors. So first of all is, embedding sustainable business practices or agricultural practices within the farming network. So, we work very closely with NGO partners as well as the government and with the network of our farmers to provide training and other support services so that they can understand in very layman's term or very simple term on what they can do in their day-to-day activities to really reduce carbon intensity. And this includes efficient usage of water, optimizing fertilizer use, and really encouraging using organic fertilizers as well. And the most important part of our agricultural project is how do we source our products locally, and that's been supportive of our business operations as well. And so we really prioritize sourcing raw materials from very close to our factories, so that there's least amount of transportation required as well as the associate emissions that come with the transportation cost. And number three is working very closely with empowering our farmers, investing in their education, showing them new and affordable technologies that can help improve their yields and efficiency, has been really useful for reducing our carbon footprint. In terms of our manufacturing and production areas, especially when you have 30 factories, is how do you really utilize and be efficient with your energy? And this is a core focus pillar for us. We're systematically upgrading our machineries, to have products that are more energy efficient as well. Working on HVAC systems, optimizing heating, and then utilizing the heat from the generation so that we can put it back to our systems. And so we do regular energy audits as well. So this has been a work in progress. We've recently invested in a washing and dyeing machine within our garments unit, which is the first of its kind globally, which has given us great results. Within 6 months, we've reduced water usage by over 30%. And as I said, how do we integrate renewable energy within our system? And I'd like to share that Pran Arifil Group, along with H&M and the government of Bangladesh, we signed Bangladesh's first of its kind corporate.
Sumaya, I think we are running out of time. If you could wrap up, I think the audience wants to ask a few questions. They're already...
Absolutely. I'll just take 2 minutes.
Yeah, 30 seconds,
We're
Appa.
working with 30 seconds, right?
Yes.
So, we're working with the government to create a policy that is conducive of supporting renewable energy sector. We've signed a partnership with H&M, where we're working on the country's first corporate purchase power agreement. We're investing in a 100 megawatt solar project that is going to support not just us, but other H&M partners as well. And so just to kind of tie in all the knots, I think the most important part of doing our business is, number one, investing in the right, machineries and operations. But number two is also having the right partners. When you have the Bangladesh government, when you have global giants like H&M as well, we really align our strategies with each other, and then really advocate for a sustainable and an inclusive policy when it comes to the environment.
Thank you. Sorry. I know it's a big. Thank you so much, Sumaya. Pran is such a big company. I think there's a lot you have to share. Sorry, we are running out of time, and we had to cut you short for a little bit. But since we have, I think, run out of our scheduled time, so I'm going to invite the audience to ask a few questions. I think we've heard a lot, a huge variety and depth of how the private sector can and has been contributing. So if you have questions to the panel, one thing I would ask, because we are short of time, please please have a direct question, and you can ask whichever panelist you want to answer. That would be great.
And you have just like 20 seconds to ask your question.
Thank you. Thank you for organizing this session, because this is very related to our environment protection campaign. Number one, everything actually responsible is government. Without government permission, nobody can do anything inside the country. Therefore, we do not have, in Bangladesh, we do not have adequate policies and adequate laws to control the pollution and other things. Internationally, there is a long history of legally binding treaty on business and human rights initiated in 1993. Till date, it is actually in draft because of activists trying to put some idea to the treaty, and other international financial agencies, they are putting some things which is in favor of the business community. That actually conflict going on. And unfortunately, Bangladesh, some people from Bangladesh government participating this meeting, event meeting every year, without consulting activists and other knowledge, who have knowledge. One thing is we have some concern about our corporate issues. That is, some corporate actually, in the name of agriculture, they are promoting monocrop, like mango farming instead of multiple agriculture system. That is actually harming our total food system and chain because of their profit. Number two, some corporate, particularly Pran RFL, there is a conflict with the Ganga River in Rajshahi because they are collecting groundwater without consulting any authorities. Even they have actually engaged with the conflict with the farmers and local people. So that everything is not like black and white. There is something. And another thing is our promoting renewable energy. This is another kind of business, just to grab some land in the name of renewable energy. The corporate grabbing the huge amount of agricultural land from the Bangladesh. This is actually another harmful activities for next decade. Thank you.
You also want? Okay, thank you very much. You have raised a lot of questions, but let's, for the sake of the time, please brief.
Do we give
thank you very much for giving me
the
your time.
panelists an option to respond?
Yes, respond.
Okay.
Chair, I mean, you have to also make sure that.
So I have a query on the online panelist who is from the HSBC. She was mentioning that they are also promoting giving the loan to the SMEs for the agriculture and climate aspects activities. So I would like to know from her, so far we know that the branches of HSBC is not too much spread covering the countries. So their branches are very limited. So how they can reach out to the community level, the farmers levels to give these loan facilities to the farmers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think this is straightforward. Yes. So I think.
So my quick question to Madhukarji is, how do we embed some of the Vedic knowledge or our ancestral knowledge and communicate it to the government? Because most of cultural development knowledge.
Okay, thank you. I think there are more questions. So can we follow up? So I think we have to come back once again, Chair. But from the speakers also, we want a very, precise, like one. I know.
So we will give them all a chance to answer? Okay.
No, not all the chance.
Then if you're taking so many questions, who will answer? We have to.
First question was to Pran. Second question is to HSBC.
Madhukarji.
And third question is
to Madhukarji. Okay, fine.
To Madhukarji's, the question is, even if we have the traditional knowledge, how do we integrate it into the KPIs that financial institutions are looking at? I think that's very critical.
Okay, great.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Come back, one more round. But
did you get that? I didn't get that.
Key performance indicator linkages of the Vedic. So can we start with the Pran?
What will be the order from the first question? Na?
Yeah.
So I'll be the last one to answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we start with Pran? Sumaya, do you want to respond to what our activist Shamsher Bhai was highlighting? He highlighted a lot of things. I think one thing we should.
I noted down. I noted 3 topics down, and maybe I'm just going to be very quick with my response.
Yes.
So first was talking about monocropping, especially mangoes in Bangladesh, which reduces the overall agricultural diversity. So number one, Panellists Group has been the first organization within the country that has been pulping mango, and we've been doing it since the 1980s. And so the reason why we actually started doing it was our founder chairman had realized that there was a lot of mango outputs there anyways, but the mango was being wasted because there were not enough consumers that were available to have those mangoes at that point of time. And so that's how we created a business model where we could serve our consumers mango throughout the year, mango products throughout the year. just to highlight, number one is mango is not the only product, that farming that we do. We have rice, we have pulses, we have dairy, we're getting into poultry, and so it's quite, diversified, number one. And number two, also because we, as a business, we also look at the consumer demands. And so when the consumer demands for, mango processing on processed mango products, that is the demand that we are here to fulfill. And so really it's about how do we balance the business and the, agricultural model based on the consumer demands is how we're going forward. That's number one. Number two is talking about the renewable energy space. Shamsher Bhai, just so you know, the space that we do our renewable energy is within our factory systems and our lands itself. And so we understand that there's a real, there's a scarcity of land in Bangladesh, especially with such a big population. And so within the factory walls itself, we are, promoting, or we've installed the renewable energy and the solar panels. But the next project that we're coming up with, the 100 megawatt panel solar project, is also within our operational systems as well. We're not acquiring absolutely new land. It's a land that we're already using for agricultural and fishery and other production processes. So that's number two. And in terms of number three, the question was, working in the Rajshahi area and then, working with water especially. So yes, we've been working in that area since the 1980s again. And then, we're working very closely with the government to see what are the water stewardship issues or the water stewardship challenges that the belt is facing. And we're already proactively working in that space. There's, in terms of, doing audits, checks and balances, as I've already mentioned, we supply to a whole range of global consumers, and a lot of the products are produced there as well. So we have, third-party checks, audits, and balances, as well as, government checks, audits, and balances that we, validate the way that we use water and how we use water responsibly.
So I see Shamsher Bhai shaking his head. He probably, maybe you can have a discussion later on. We are running out of time. I cannot allow further. Thank you so much, Sumaya, for your response, and Shamsher Bhai for your question. But I think we live in a reality where we don't have complete answers, or it's not an ideal. That's why we are here to open a dialogue and talk about it and take things forward. So I think we need more dialogue on this. Our second question was to HSBC, but one thing I must, I forgot your name. Sohail Bhai is, HSBC is also representing the financial ecosystem itself, not just only HSBC Bank, but I will forward her question, your question to her. Afzapa, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
So yes, thank you. Thanks for the question. And the thing is, like, I was sharing an overall ecosystem of Bangladesh Bank and how the guidelines are. But if I come back to HSBC, yes, our operation do support microfinance. So we support microfinance institutes, and through that financing takes place. So to answer in brief, that's the answer for now. Thank you.
Okay, so they're working through others. So I think we can go to the.
So the question was, how do we integrate traditional knowledge with the science? Okay. And the second question was, how do we make KPIs for the financial institutions, right? So now that you already have a guest from HSBC, HSBC is looking into the microfinance, right? Now, just imagine a scenario wherein, why does anybody give you a finance? In the want of the return, right? Now, if HSBC focuses to work on the environmental credits, they will get a return for next 30 years. That is how you integrate it with the financial system. When it comes to understanding the traditional knowledge, since morning you have heard 3 or 4 times that rice cultivation is a GHG emitter. So what do? Government of India has got Indian Council of Agriculture Research, which is working on a genome project for developing new seeds of rice, which will be doing lesser emission. Okay? But is that actually required? You go to Assam, people are cultivating rice and fisheries in the same land. So if you have fisheries, your rice farm will actually become a wetland, which means it will sequester carbon instead of emitting, right? Fish cannot be reared into contaminated water. So the water quality has to be good enough. Otherwise the fishes themselves will die. And fish excreta is what? Pure ammonia, which is required by all sorts of plants for growing, right? So if you understand the nature around you, you will have all sorts of solutions. You have a problem of wasteland, right? What is a wasteland? Where nothing grows, right? That is why it is called a wasteland. But there also you will see during monsoon, grass has started growing up. Why does that happen? Did you add any fertilizer? Nothing. What did change? Only the quality of water that you're using for irrigation, which is the purest form of natural water in the form of rain. So why are we putting our heads in adding and developing new kinds of fertilizers? Whether it is a biological fertilizer or a chemical fertilizer, doesn't matter. Does the soil need your input? If without your input, the plants can grow. Plants know how to grow, right? They don't need human intervention at every stage. But we are intervening, and then we say our crop quality is deteriorating. We are the reason for that deterioration. We don't want the eggs to grow on their own. We don't want the chickens to grow on their own. A 7-day aged chicken is given antibiotic through the eye drops. So the intent is grow it 1 kg plus in 45 days. And where will all this antibiotic grow? This will go into the human food chain. And then we complain AMR, antimicrobial resistance. We are consuming so much of antibiotics without any reason. Obviously, AMR will develop. So we are the cause of our all problems. We are creating them. We are manufacturing problems. And then the industry is running to solve those problems. What happened during the pandemic? Everybody was under lockdown. The river started becoming cleaner. All newspapers reported that, right?
Yeah, we can continue.
So I'm done.
Continue the conversation during the lunch. And I think
my answers are clear.
Yeah, yes, but your answers are very nice. And we are closing after this last question. So, Chair.
Okay, my question is to Sapneen. When you were showing the plantation, I was wondering that how fast the trees are growing, because if it grows faster, you know, they will be absorbing the water more. The groundwater will be going. Just looking at the trees doesn't mean anything. So there was no time frame for that. So I didn't know if they are really indigenous species or not, if they are invaded or something like that. And the second question was when you were showing about the dug wells, doing the cleaning of those, I didn't see any stakeholders engagement over there. So how did you came up with the selection of that site? Why it looks like that it was used to be a big dug well, which is abandoned for later on. So I just, that's I had for you.
Nice questions. Yeah.
I'm glad we have a very curious audience. I'll try to finish in 30 seconds. First, the microforest that you saw, it was a timeline of 7 years crammed into a 1-minute video. And the species were planted by the local botanists, which can sustain on low water, and their roots don't go as deep. They sustain without having to be watered around the year. I think that's the second. About the dug well site, it was earlier a village which was later converted into an industrial premise, and that industry took up. And the industry also supports the community which not lost that land, but they have given up that land. But that water source served them around the year. So that industry picked it up by themselves under SDG 6, goal number 6, that we want to help the community around us. And that's where they reached out to us how we could revive it. It was a small stream of water which was then converted into a dug well 40, 50 years ago. And because of infrastructure, it had gone bad. And today it is serving the community around. I hope I answered within 30 seconds.
Thank you to all our panelists who answered the question. Shamimappa, you are the only one who no one has directed. Probably your speech was the most clearest. But do you have, I'll give you 30 seconds if you want to say anything to the, as a closing remark. Shamimappa, are you there? We don't have her? Okay. So, thank you, everyone. I think we had a very, very interesting session, and always having the private sector sort of spices things up because they are the big bad people who have destroyed everything for us. But they are also the people who have our economy running, and we cannot deny that. But I think we can conclude that we don't have all the answers. And when I was hearing what Madhukarji was saying, it reminded me of this show that we used to watch. There was a British show called Yes Minister, and in India it was called Ji Mantri Ji, where the assistant of the Mantri always created problems and made them solve it. So we humans are creating problems and solving it, but actually the work is not being done. So I think that's a question we need to all ask ourselves. But I also see that there are ways where we can go back to nature, that there are ways that are much slower perhaps, because nature doesn't do things as fast as human wants and in the skyrocket speed that our current AI and technology is taking us. So perhaps we need to slow down a bit and listen to nature and how it has solved it. Perhaps in the transition period, we also need to ask where our research and development needs to go. Does it need to research more on genome, or maybe look at traditional?
I just wanted to add up to your speech. Actually, nature does things way faster than what we can.
Really?
Problem is, we want a solution, or we want to postpone the problem, right? Our approach is to postpone the problem, not to solve it. There are plenty of people surviving on the problem. So if you want to solve it, nothing can solve it better and faster than nature itself.
So let nature take its place. So I think these are very important points to ponder, that we need to think about, think deep within ourselves. And we have a lot of solutions that we have, I think, seen and being described. The solution, I think, comes in collaborating and bringing it more closer to nature, because one thing I think from this, today's the second day, I think even from tomorrow, what we will probably find is nature, and it has already been said, Madhukarji said it very nicely, that is the most sustainable element of human or planetary existence that we have, and we need to base everything on that. But life is complex, and we have made it complex. Our private sector, our industries, our manufacturing, our service sector, all combined together, economy, politics, is even more complex. How we've heard from Unilever, we've seen what Pran does, we've heard all these solutions, the research and development done at Bayer. It's very, very complex things that we have to deal with. And solution can be simple, but maybe implementing it, I don't know how we find it with everything, how humans are. But it's good that I think the first step, there's a saying that goes, journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. I think talking about nature and considering nature as the basis of sustainability is the first step towards that 1,000-mile journey. And we have started it, and thanks to Meghna Knowledge Forum and everyone involved in it to help us go forward there. With that, I would like to end. Over to you.